You know, when you hear words like justification and sanctification, your brain probably jumps to some pretty heavy, abstract theology, right? We think about rules and forgiveness and getting right with God. But what if that's only looking at part of the picture? What if this is actually a massive story about cosmic restoration and our place in it? So let's start with this question because it has the power to reframe this whole conversation. Let's just try a little thought experiment. What if the fundamental problem with humanity isn't just that we broke a bunch of rules, but that we completely walked away from our entire reason for being here in the first place? Okay, so to really get a handle on the solution, we've got to go back and understand the original problem. The biblical story kicks off with humanity being given a very specific and, a very important job, a vocation that, as we're about to see, just got catastrophically shattered. So humans were made to be image bearers, and that's a really powerful idea. It basically means we were commissioned to be God's representatives here on earth, a kind of royal and priestly role. Our whole purpose was to reflect His good character and to faithfully manage the world on His behalf. But then the rebellion happened, and the fallout meant it wasn't just about breaking one rule. It was this total, fundamental breakdown. The communion we had with our Creator, gone, replaced by alienation. Our confidence, lost to shame. And the result wasn't just some personal guilt, it was a full-blown cosmic disorder that twisted our very purpose. All right, so if that's the problem, this broken relationship and this lost job, how does God respond? Well, the answer comes in this incredible, unified, two-part restoration. And these two movements are called justification and sanctification. It is absolutely crucial to see them as two sides of the same coin. They are totally inseparable. This is a fantastic way to map out the two parts of the solution. Think of justification as all about restoring our identity and our status. It's a declaration. It's about belonging. Then you have sanctification, which is all about renewing our vocation, our purpose. It's the ongoing transformation into people who actually live out that new identity. This quote just nails it. Justification establishes identity. Sanctification forms that identity into lived loyalty. I love the analogy that justification is like getting a passport. It declares you a citizen of God's family. But then sanctification is the process of actually learning to live like one. You really can't have one without the other. So let's zoom in on that first movement, justification. The big idea here is to shift our thinking away from like a cold legal transaction in a courtroom and to see it for what it is, a deeply relational, deeply personal welcome back into the family. So what is it, really? At its heart, justification is all about getting our standing back inside a covenant relationship. It answers that huge, fundamental question of belonging. It's a declaration that the separation is over, and because of our connection to the Messiah, we are officially part of God's reconciled family again. And you have to understand, this didn't just pop up out of nowhere. It's the climax of a story that's been unfolding for centuries. It starts way back with a promise to Abraham, where his trust was what gave him right standing. It continues through Israel's failure and betrayal of that promise. And it all culminates in the Messiah, who finally fulfills the promise and restores that broken relationship for good. And this is what just turns everything on its head. This restored status, this family membership, you can't earn it. It's not based on your heritage or how well you perform religious rituals or any special privilege. It's granted simply through faith, an active trust and allegiance to the Messiah. And that just throws the doors of belonging wide open to absolutely everyone. Okay, so now let's see how this brand new identity builds into a renewed purpose. If justification is getting your citizenship, sanctification is learning the language and the customs of your new country. It's the practical, day in, day out, working out of the identity you've been given as we start to reclaim our original job. Sometimes this process is called participatory holiness. And yeah, that sounds kind of intense, right? But it's not about becoming a monk and hiding from the world. No, it's the total opposite. It's about being empowered by God's Spirit to actively represent His character in the world, finally getting to do that royal and priestly job we were made for. So how does this whole transformation thing actually work? Well, there's this really profound idea from the book of Colossians. It basically says you don't start this journey on the fuel of faith and then switch over to a different fuel source, like just trying harder or keeping a bunch of rules. The entire process, from start to finish, runs on the exact same engine: trust. And you can kind of see this dynamic at play here. Look at the balance, or maybe the imbalance. The heavy lifting, the real work, it's all divine action. God is the one doing the rooting, the building, the establishing. Our part, our active participation, is the response. It's not about us striving to build ourselves up, but about abounding in thanksgiving for the work He's already doing in us. Okay, let's pull the camera back one last time for the big picture. Because this whole process, this restoration of our identity and our purpose, it's not just for our own individual benefit. It's part of a much, much bigger project. We're talking about the renewal of everything. This is so important. Justification doesn't just create a collection of saved individuals. It forms a people, a community. And sanctification, that's not a solo sport. It happens together. This community, the church, is meant to be a living, breathing preview, a little foretaste of what God is doing to restore all of creation. So you can see this clear path, this trajectory. Justification is the decisive declaration that happened in our past. Sanctification is the ongoing progressive transformation we're living in right now, in the present. And it's all pointing towards a future goal, glorification, which is the final, complete restoration of humanity and, well, all of creation. And that brings it all right back home, doesn't it? If our new identity and our new purpose aren't just for us, but are actually a vital piece of God's plan to renew heaven and earth, well, that changes everything. It means our daily choices, our work, our relationships, they all become these incredible opportunities to participate in that grand cosmic story. So the real question for us is, how are we going to play our part?